Good evening. or afternoon and evening. Good evening. Oh, it's such a pleasure and honor to be here and see all the women in the room who are jazzed up about women getting involved in a meaningful way, in an intentional way, a very purposeful way. So as I was introduced, I'm Leslie Love, and I'm a state representative representing the 10th House District. And where's the Michigan folks at? Make some noise. Oh, all right, there we are. Okay, very good. And all the out-of-towners, welcome to Detroit. I represent the city of, a portion of Northwest Detroit and all of Redford Township, which is a suburb of the city of Detroit. And I want to talk to you, or I've been asked to talk to you, particularly about women of color and the barriers in being engaged in that way. So I thought I'd first begin by giving you some context about how I came to this position. So I ran a few times, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. The struggle was real, but I want to really let you know that it was not just running for running's sake. All the women who came before, what they had to say was very true. I did a lot of studying. I went to Emily's List. I went to the League of Women Voters, CPL, Vote, Run, Lead. If there was a training program, I was there learning how to run a campaign, formalizing how do I speak to my issues, and all those things. So I did the typical woman thing. I wanted to make sure that I was sure that when I stepped into the platform, that I was ready and prepared to serve and to speak about those things that I was passionate about. And it was, like I said, I didn't just run to run. It was very strategic. My district is tough. The men that I ran against were always incumbents, that one. And those names had been in Detroit politics since I was born. And so the barrier was really tough. And I got involved because, one, I've always been very engaged in my community, and I came up after leaving undergrad to work for the union, and I was an organizer and had been an organizer, didn't know I was political because I was just doing what I felt you should do as a human being who cares about people who are suffering and who are underserved and underrepresented. And when I felt like my representative wasn't really stepping up to the occasion, I wanted to come and help. And so I said, I think I can do this. But I was very comfortable spending 12 years at Marygrove College as the director of theater operations there and an adjunct professor for Marygrove as well as Wayne County Community College. But I also come from a background of the theater and stand-up comedy. And so a lot of my friends who know me as an artist, as a creative, they go, "You want to get in that business? That old dirty, stinky politics? But you're a creative and you're bright and you're wonderful and you think outside the box." And I say, and that's exactly why they need me. So anyone here who thinks, I need to be an attorney, I'm going to go back to law, I'm going to go to school and get my degree, or I'm going to go to my school and become a public policy professional, you don't need to do that. Cut it out. What you need to do is be intentional. You need to know what you care about. You need to be very passionate and articulate about those things. And then you just need to go for it. And you don't have to ask for permission or approval, but you do need to be ready. And so part of being ready, I think, is particularly a barrier for women of color. So when I started out, the fundraising is one of the #1 barriers for women of color. It's amazing to me because I go to a lot of women events, and it looks like this audience. So whether I'm with Debbie Dingell or Brenda Lawrence, fundraisers look very different. Debbie Dingell, all the women come out for Debbie Dingell, all these women, and they open up their wallets, and they give her money, and they write her checks. And then the sister comes up. It's like, so you're not from my district. Do I really write you a check? So we have some different barriers. I experience those. When I go to my doctor, I said, can you throw me a fundraiser at your house? And she says, well, I'm in Bloomfield Hills and you're in Detroit. How can I get my folks from Bloomfield Hills to understand how to support you from Detroit? And so there's a lot of barriers in just the finances alone, just the money. So if you are a person who knows how to fundraise, or who's not shy about raising money. That's a career, that's a field that is definitely in demand, and we need that. Women, particularly women of color, to be able to say, I need your support. And oftentimes, whether you're a woman of color or just a woman, asking for help may be something that's a little bit difficult. There's some things we're really able and capable and willing to ask for help for. Oh, can you help me? I'm going shopping. I got to figure out what dress I'm going to wear to my class reunion. All your girlfriends will come out for that. But when you say, hey, I'm thinking about running for state representative. And I'm going to need some help. I want to do a fundraiser. And can you find 5 of your friends who would write a check for $25 to $50? It's a barrier. And so one of the obstacles we have to get over is, one, the fear of asking for money and the ability to ask for money. And thank you, yes. So, amen, the amen corner is right there. Probably run for office a few times. And you know the struggle is real. And by the way, there's no slight to Debbie Dingell or Brenda Lawrence at all. I mean, these are 2 phenomenal women, and they deserve it. I just observe the difference in who comes out and the scrutiny that particularly black women do. And let me pause right there. Bing. Second problem. Being a woman. So, and it's really interesting because to me, there's a lot of similarities between artists and politics. That's why they get together and hang out a lot, I guess. So, as a woman, I'll come before people, and immediately I get this. You know the look, the up and down. How those shoes? Do the shoes match the dress? Does the belt go with the shoes? I know the hair and the earrings. They do, and you know you do, and you know you do it. If you don't, you're lying. We're always looking at that, and it's in our head too. It's like, oh man, my nails are chipped, and I got to shake hands, and I mean, we're all in our head about this. And truly, the physical is the first thing I think people, they approach you and they see that, your cover. And so that's on our mind. And like in the arts, the guy, the leading man, could be a little overweight. He could be a little disheveled. He could be a little goofy and not too bright, and it's okay. But that sister better have it together. That woman has to have it together. There's a new TV show that's on right now where the lady is a little, I don't even think she's big because she keeps mentioning how overweight she is. You know the show I'm talking about? I think it's American Mom or American Housewife. I love American Housewife. I say, oh, you go, girl. But she's so together, and her husband's just such a doofus. But she keeps it together. And I'm not, no slight to men. Man, we need you. I love you. Whew, thank you for being here. Okay, so unplugged. So money is one. A second barrier is that typically women of color are associated with the Democratic Party. As if there can't be an African American, a Latina, an Asian woman who's a Republican. And so we've always, I think, kind of been taken for granted that if I'm black, I should be a Democrat. That black person should run for office only if they're Democrat, and we won't be accepted in the Republican arena. And the Republicans maybe have not done the best at integrating their own caucus and their own party to make sure that other ethnicities are represented. They're working on it. They got a few. So, but I could just look right here in the state of Michigan at what we have, and I have to write the numbers down because I don't always apply them to memory. But so in Michigan, this is what we have. There are 35 women serving in the state legislature. 4 are senators, 31 are representatives. Of the 4 senators, we have 1 Democrat, 3 Republicans. In the House of Representatives, we have 15 Democrats and 16 Republicans. Of those 31 women in the House of Representatives, we have 9 of color. 1 is Asian, 2 is Hispanic, and there are 6 African Americans. And that's considered progress. Of all the years, we are in the 99th legislature in Michigan, and we have 9 women of color. And most of those women of color come from the city of Detroit. And so here's another, not only are we looked at as Democrats, if you're a woman of color, you're supposed to be a Democrat, and also if you're a person of color, you must represent an urban area. Like a black woman from Grosse Pointe Neal cannot become the state rep in that area, or somewhere else where it's not, where we are the minority in that community, will probably likely feel that they won't elect me because I don't look like the majority of the people in this community. But Mayor Duggan doesn't have a problem coming to the city of Detroit and running to be the mayor of the city of Detroit. That's a predominantly African-American city. That's no shade to the mayor. I like Mayor Duggan, but I'm just saying. So no one, so the white man doesn't think, oh, I can't go into that big black city and run for mayor. No. But won't a black person hesitate and go, and do I have to assimilate? Now do I have to start changing my voice, and I have to have the right credentials and a husband, and I have to carpool and really know the struggle? So then do we have to start playing that game? So that's another barrier. There, those are my three. Not urban areas. So, here's and this is my fourth and last one. Barrier is being included, intentionally included at the table. And so we talk a good game about it, but sitting in this position as state rep, and I'm in meetings with a variety of people who are influencing the future of the city of Detroit. And oftentimes, there's not a person that looks like me at that table. Maybe there's one. This past weekend, we had a policy conference in Mackinac Island, and they made it a point to make sure on all the panels there was at least one person of color. And I said, well, gee. You go. Really? I mean, there's the issues that we care about and that we want to talk about. One begin with just being included intentionally at the table. So we've been here, we've invested in the city of Detroit, we've lived in the city of Detroit, and when we talk about transforming downtown, transforming our communities, we should be looking at people who are from here, from this community, sitting at those tables, having those conversations. And so when that happened, when we just passed some bills that allowed for major development to happen in downtown Detroit, and those guys, they invited me and the legislators up, and they gave us a really nice tour and wined and dined us. I said, this is real lovely, but I need to have people from my neighborhood to have this experience. So what did I do? I gathered neighborhood leaders. All those, and a lot of them were women. Shout out to the women in my neighborhood because they're so active. And I said, I want you to experience this. I want you to understand what they're doing down here in downtown Detroit with the development. And then not only that, so we organized, we had the ladies come down and have that experience. And then I said, I want to take it one more step further. So we came down to look at what we're doing in downtown Detroit, how we're going to develop this, what's the plan. Now we want you to come back into our neighborhoods and listen to the leaders from this neighborhood about the plans that they have and the visions they have in this neighborhood, and how what you do down there affects what we're doing over here. And it was such a, and so Monday, in fact, is the second part of that, of this engagement that I'm having with that community. And so I think one of the barriers, and why you see not so many African Americans, maybe even at events like this, at the Capitol when everybody had the Pussycats caps on and all of that, and they were like, where are the black women? And Dave Chappelle said something really funny that I'm not going to repeat about that. But it really is, we have been in the struggle, all of us women, but particularly women of color have had a unique journey in this story. From our ancestors to present day, the struggle, we've already known it. We have always been the minority in the room. Some of my white brothers and sisters can go from cradle to grave and never have an African American be your supervisor, your boss, or someone that you're accountable to, but very few people of color can say that. It's going to be your teacher, your principal, the person at the bank, your first supervisor will probably not look like you. So we've been adjusting for quite some time. It's not new revolution. But I think it's the responsibility of all other folks to kind of be conscious of that and figure out how can I really intentionally and meaningfully have inclusion and diversity in this space. To have uncomfortable conversations. I remember leading when I was a professor at Marygrove in February, we did hair story. Because people, the weave thing was real out there. Girl having hair long and then it's short and then it's big and it's short. And then people was confused. I was confused. And I said, let's talk about the hair. Let's just have some conversation about hair because it's something about other folks' hair that I have questions about too. So let's just talk about it. And we did, and it was so much fun. But here's the thing, we just have to sometimes be uncomfortable. And then after that, just get comfortable. And you're comfortable when genuine relationships have happened, when real barriers have broken down. That's when you have arrived. And those employers, that workplace, that department, they're thriving because everybody there, they've got that vibe going on. Whether you're black or brown or tan, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we are people sharing in this moment towards a common goal, and that we are purposeful, intentional, and meaningful in our goal. And that's what we all need to strive for, whether you're a man or a woman, black or white. Be purposeful and be intentional, and let's be inclusive. Thank you.